Welcome, listeners. You are listening to Tea Talk Show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the program.
I took some bread to him today. He was awake, but he wouldn't take it. He's getting frailer every
Welcome,
day.
listeners. You are listening to Tea Talk Show.
Tied to the
Sit back,
chair,
relax, and enjoy the program.
under the stairs. But death is not a friend he's ever gonna meet. As long as I am here, he's staying in that seat, and he's gonna pay in every way.
Welcome, listeners.
Night he broke into her.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Welcome, listeners. You are listening to Tea Talk Show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another amazing, interesting, and educative, entertaining episode of Love Me Jeje show. I am Sanusi Rebecca, and I'm really excited to be live on the show this evening on as we discuss podcast review. Yes, for the podcast review for Love Me Jeje show. You're welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Kindly do me a favor. You can also do well to drop your comments on the comments box. Let us know that you are live on the show listening to this episode this evening. You're welcome once again. I am Sanusi Rebecca. So let's hear Titi as she give us Titi Sanusi, which is me, as she give us the podcast review for the Love Me Jeje show, and she'll be answering a lot of questions from the table of Tea Talk show as regarding the Love Me Jeje show. Don't wait.
I took some bread to him today. He was awake, but he wouldn't take it. He's getting frailer every
Welcome,
day.
listeners. You are listening to Tea Talk Show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Okay, good evening once again. You're welcome to the podcast review of Tea Talk Show for Love Me Jeje. I am Sanusi Rebecca, and I have a whole lot of questions here from the table of Tea Talk Show as regarding Love Me Jeje that I need to answer. Occasion segment Sunday evening 7 p.m. was the Love Me Jeje show. So then I didn't want to include it actually, but it just came up. The name just bounced up from somewhere. Love Me Jeje. My heart was just telling me that I should include love to my show. Although before then, I've always discussed love on my wall, on my WhatsApp status, right? Stuff that has to do with love over time. But then I never had it in mind that I would be having any show that has to do with it. But anyway, it just came so hard, and that I should, and the name for the show also came along. So what do I need to do? I just had to, just let it be. So that was about. I was just thinking about the segments I want to hold for my show, and love came up. Okay, how did I get the name? Well, the name came with the inspiration that Titi, you should include love to your podcast. Don't let me say the Holy Spirit, so people won't maybe don't let me look too spiritual, but it actually came up in my heart, and the name followed, Love Me Jeje, and that was it. Okay, so what's the inspiration behind it? Okay, the inspiration is that it came to heart that I should include love to the segments I'll be having in my show, and the name came with it. So that's just the inspiration behind it. Okay, the next one is just us about your first Love Me Jeje show. Well, the first Love Me Jeje show was basically for people to give a shout out and to tell us how they knew the person they were with was the one. So during that period, of course, it was the first show. So I was one of my listeners, my pastor actually, when he listened to it, was like, evangelism still date its body. So then it's just this first episode. So that spiritual, I wasn't that free. I was still spirit cocoa in a way. But then the show was actually on point because a lot of people gave shout out to their friends and family. So that episode was majorly shout out. People gave shout out to people, and it was really amazing with amazing music. I played a lot of amazing music, Lagbaja, Love Me Jeje. There's this song. It was really funny that when I was preparing for the first show, I searched online for music, love music and all, and I discovered that there's a song actually called Love Me Jeje. I was really shocked. Like, I just had to download this immediately. That I was like, oh, this is my name. This is the name for my love show, Love Me Jeje. Oh, wow, let me listen. And the song was a hit. Like, that song was a hit. So, it was, it was just spiritual in a way, but then it turned out really amazing and awesome. Okay, another one is saying, how do you find it easy discussing love relationships despite not being in one? Well, over time, I've always loved to, talk and write about it. And one thing I really love is when people are fine, they're doing well relationship-wise and everything. So I just write stuff, on my wall, on my WhatsApp status. Over time, I've always write. So, so because I've always write about it, I was able to be bold to talk about it. Why? Because it's something that I've been, I've found myself doing over time. So, the more even when you're scared of talking about something, when you give it a try, there's this boldness that you gather, as you keep up with it, you are able to be very free to talk about it. So that has just been it. Okay, another one is saying, where do you get information you share on Love Me Jeje show? Well, over time, growing up, I've always had people around me, friends, people around me reach out to me on relationship matter, and I'm always shocked that why are you guys always asking me? It's not that I'm in one, so why are you asking? But I don't know. People just ask me questions on relationship when I was growing up, when I was on campus and I was in part one. So and I've always had sensible things to say. So I don't know where I got all those information from. Although I actually make research, and also from the experience I've gathered over time, whereby people ask me questions, I'm able to think and able to provide awesome and make sense solutions to it. So all those kind of building up actually came together to be one. So that's just that. I make research a lot. I ask questions. I invest in book. I read books, relationship books, and I talk relationship talk over time. So all those kind of experience actually grew big. So that's just that. Okay, another one question here is saying, in one of your episodes, you sang a song by Michael Jackson titled Flying Without Wings. Yes, I remember that episode. Is it Searching for Love? I think that was it. And that day, I sang this song, Flying Without Wings, on my show. And, after singing that song, oh my God, people were like, wow, your voice is beautiful. In fact, the way I'm talking now, I'm feeling like singing this song. Maybe I should sing it. Let me quickly sing it. Everybody's looking for that something, one thing that makes it all complete. Some find it in strange places you never knew it could be. Some find it in the badge of our children. Some find it in the fattest learn. Oh, you can't deny the joy it brings when you find a special thing. You flying without wings. So that day I just sang the song and I sang it. I didn't stop where I stopped actually. People were like, "Oh wow, your voice is beautiful, your voice is beautiful and everything." I really felt myself, you really need to check that podcast out. Like I really shouted, I was really excited that people actually saw that I had great voice. So that was that. Okay. It says you have such a sweet voice. Should we expect you release a song on love too? Well, I'm not a love singer. I don't know. Actually, I actually love music, but I personally don't like produce song. Although when I was young, I used to produce some songs. But now it's not like maybe I'm interested or into it, but I really love music. Like I sing music, I listen to music, I do stuff on music, and it's really amazing. So it's been an amazing one. Okay, so is in your 5 best love podcast episode. Anyway, over time, I don't have a best love podcast episode. I actually don't have a best because over time, when I come online, this week is sweet, it's awesome. The next week it's a hit. I think I've seen enough this week. Then another week I'm seeing that this week is even more better than last week. So okay, if I want to mention podcast that stood out to me, and there's a podcast where I told a story. Yes, I'm going to talk about that. It's love that hard to find. Yes, you need to get our podcast. It's really enlightening. It's love that hard to find. Okay, there are people out there who have all it takes to be in love, but they are not finding it. So what's up? What happened? What's causing it? Yeah, okay. So okay, there are people like that. So what's the solution if you find yourself in that kind of situation? What should you do? So that podcast is really amazing because my audience gave it. I had a lot of audience who said a lot of things that were, even me myself said stuff, but then my audience were like, we allowed listeners to actually pour out their mind and say what they feel concerning it. So you need to get our podcast, and this podcast where I sang searching for love. Yes, you need to listen to that podcast too. It's a very, very amazing and interesting one. Okay, there's this one on managing differences in a relationship. I really love that podcast episode. If you followed my gist on submission, if you follow my WhatsApp gist on submission, then a lot of things, there were some little things that were said in that submission. The major of it were actually discussed in this topic, managing differences in a relationship. So you should listen to the podcast. I have another podcast on important conversations that saves a relationship. Or in a relation, there are some things you should talk about you and your partner, so as to ensure smooth running of the relationship. So that podcast is very, very amazing. You should actually listen to it. There's another podcast on dealing with rejection from a lady you love. This podcast is dedicated to males out there. Maybe you actually like someone, you've been talking to someone and the person is rejecting you. Rejection is more difficult for the male than the female. That's what research shows. So how do you cope with it? Does that mean it's the end of it all? So you need to listen to that podcast too. I think I've even exceeded, and there's this why you should allow why the need for a third party in a relationship. There's another perspective to things. You see another perspective of third party in that particular podcast episode. I can go on and on to mention amazing podcasts. We have 26 love episode. There's one of it that has 2 episodes where I hosted Mr. and Mrs. Toba Olumide, and Love Gist where I brought 2 couples to come and share their love stories. So you can also listen to that. So those are just some of the best love podcasts I can also recommend. Okay, people I want to give shout out to. Well, first of all, I would like to give shout out to my listeners, TikTok show Love Me Jeje listeners. There are people who really love our show, who don't miss it for a second. They're always there when I'm live on Love Me Jeje show. I always see them. The very number one person I want to give a shout out to is Adetutu. Adetutu, thank you so much for always logging in, always joining us live on Love Me Jeje show. Thanks for trusting in what I have to say. Yes, thanks for trusting in, and thanks for your contribution also to the show. I would also like to give a big shout out to Mr. Tai Fashiba. Thank you so much for being a part of TikTok show.